ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीचैतन्य स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कथामह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरू श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवं श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगणानामितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपाद सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्विता नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणी विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणी नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदाय कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरवसे नमः हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत सप्तकांचन गौरांगी श्रीराधे वृंदावनेश्वरी दृश्यभानुमते देवी प्रणमामि नीलाचल निवासाय नित्याय बलभद्र सुभद्राभ्यां श्रीजगन्नाथाय ते नमः पंचाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरू दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरम् In our last class, we had discussed about the Chaturshloki Bhagavad Gita, 10.8 to 10.11. Today we'll proceed forward. So today we are going to focus on 10.12 onwards. Till the rest of the chapter, the Lord is focusing on describing His opulences. So this section is the Lord is describing how the Lord is everywhere. And everywhere one can relate to the Supreme Lord. And everywhere one can connect with the Supreme Lord. Let us begin. So this is chapter 10. Arjunavacha Param Brahma Param Dhama Pavitram Paramam Bhavan Purusham Shashvatam Divyam Adidevam Ajam Pustamrishaya Sarve Devanshi Naradastatha Sitodeva Lovyasa Swayam Shaiva Pravishime. Arjuna said, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ultimate abode. The purest, the absolute truth. You are the eternal, transcendental, original person, the unborn, the greatest. All the great sages such as Narada, Sita, Devala, and Vyasa confirm this truth about you, and now you yourself are declaring it to me. In these two verses, the Supreme Lord gives a chance to the Mayavadi philosopher. For here, it is clear that the Supreme is different from the individual soul. Arjuna, after hearing the four essential verses of Bhagavad Gita in this chapter, became completely free from all doubts and accepted Krishna as the Supreme Personality of God. He at once boldly declares, you are Param Brahma, the Supreme Personality of God. And previously, Krishna stated that he is the originator of everything and everyone. Every demigod and every human being is dependent on him. Men and demigods, out of ignorance, think that they are absolute and independent of the Supreme Personality of God. That ignorance is removed perfectly by the discharge of devotional service. This has already been explained in the previous verse by the Lord. Now, by his grace, Arjuna is accepting him as the supreme truth. In concordance with the Vedic injunction, it is not that because Krishna is Arjuna's intimate friend, Arjuna is flattering him by calling him the supreme personality of Godhead, the absolute truth. Whatever Arjuna says in these two verses is confirmed by the Vedic injunctions affirm that only one who takes devotional service to the Supreme Lord can understand him, whereas others cannot. Each and every word of this verse spoken by Arjuna is confirmed by the Vedic injunction. In the Kena Upanishad, it is stated that the Supreme Brahman is the rest for everything. And Krishna has already explained that everything is resting on him. The Buddhaka Upanishad confirms that the Supreme Lord, in whom everything is resting, can be realized only by those who engage constantly in thinking of the Lord. This constant thinking of Krishna is smaranam, which is one of the methods of devotional service. It is only by devotional service to Krishna that one can understand his position and get rid of his material self as the purest of the pure. One understands that Krishna is the purest of the pure, can become purified of all the sinful activities. One cannot be disinfected from sinful activities. Further, he surrenders unto the Supreme Lord. Arjuna's acceptance of Krishna as the Supreme Pure complies with the injunctions of the Vedic literature. This is also the great personalities of the Supreme Personality. Should meditate upon him and enjoy one's transcendental. He is free from bodily beings. Not only the Arjuna confirmed Purana in all the Vedic literatures, Lord Krishna also says in the fourth chapter, although I am unborn, I appear on this earth to establish religious principles. He is the supreme origin. He has no cause, for he is the cause of all causes. And everything is evident from him. This perfect knowledge can be had by the grace of the Supreme Lord. Here Arjuna expresses himself through the grace of Krishna. If we want to understand the Gita, we should accept the statements in these two verses. This is called Parampara, the acceptance of the disciplic succession. Unless one is in the disciplic succession, he cannot understand the Gita. It is not possible by so-called academic education. Unfortunately, those proud of their academic education, despite so much evidence in the Vedic literature, stick to their obstinate conviction that Krishna is an ordinary person. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada explains the purport here to be able to understand the message of the Lord. A disposition like Arjuna is required. A disposition like Arjuna is required. That means the acceptance of the disciplic succession, Prabhupada is saying, the conclusions of the disciplic succession. Prabhupada is saying one wants to understand Gita, one has to accept these two conclusions of Arjuna. So Srila Prabhupada is saying that this kind of a state of seeing Krishna everywhere and as everything, seeing Krishna as the supreme abode, the ultimate abode in everyone. It only happens with a cleansed heart. And the process of cleansing of the heart, the Lord has explained. Teshamevanukampat ahamagyan nashayamatvabhava. So Prabhupada says that okay, cleansing has to happen to what extent? Cleansing has to happen to the extent that there is constant giving of Krishna. Then one can see Krishna everywhere. Prabhupada is saying. Constant thinking, smarana is required to be able to see Krishna. We will see that this world is very limited. Why? Because if one is not Krishna conscious, on every path and every road in this world there is blockage. And if one is Krishna conscious, heartily, so for a materialistic person, every path there is blockage. And therefore, the materialistic person looks around, the materialistic person is able to find, everywhere is able to find reasons why God doesn't exist or cannot exist. He is able to find justification of self gratification everywhere. Whereas, one who is the devotee of the Lord finds Krishna everywhere. Such a person cannot understand that how any sane man can deny God. Krishna is everywhere. Krishna is behind everything. That is the point. And to know that we have to connect to the Parampara. This is the point. We have to connect to the devotees of the Lord. Which means what? Which means the all throughout our journey of Krishna consciousness, it is the devotees who can help us It's the devotees who can help us in understanding Krishna's hand in every situation. On our own, we may not be able to see. But the devotees can reveal. So that means if we are strongly connected to devotees and our Krishna consciousness can progress in any situation. If we are strongly connected to devotees through service and through a humble submissive act. So, so by serving we understand things. That's why the Shastras say that the realization comes by service. That humble service attitude, when it manifests as submissive attentive hearing with an attitude to apply, to follow, to sow. So certain aspects of Krishna consciousness are not clear. That only indicates that we need to do homework in Krishna. On its own, things will not be clear. The Lord is telling, Nadami Buddhi Yoga, but the Lord says, I do not give intelligence just like this. Desham Sarvapayam. But I give intelligence when one is constantly engaged in my service. So therefore, by the mercy of the Lord, one can see Krishna and the devotees, one can see Krishna everywhere and in every situation. That is the point. One can see Krishna everywhere and one can see Krishna in every situation. Let's read. सर्वमेतद्ऋतं मन्ये यनमां वदसि केशव नहि ते भगवान् व्यक्तिम् विदुर्देव न दानव. Oh Krishna, I totally accept this truth. All that you have told. Neither the demigods nor the demons can understand your personality. Arjuna herein confirms that persons of faithless and demoniac nature cannot understand Krishna. He is not known even by the demigods. What to speak of the scholars of this contour? By the grace of the Supreme Lord, Arjuna has understood that the Supreme Truth is Krishna and that he is the perfect one. One should therefore follow the path of Arjuna. He received the authority of Bhagavad Gita as described in the fourth chapter. The Parampara system of the disciplic succession for the understanding of Bhagavad Gita was lost, and therefore Krishna re-established the disciplic succession with Arjuna because he considered Arjuna his intimate friend and great devotee. Therefore, as stated in the introduction to Gita Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita should be understood in the Parampara system. When the Parampara system was lost, Arjuna was selected to rejuvenate. The acceptance by Arjuna of all that Krishna says should be emulated. Then we can understand the essence of Bhagavad Gita. And then only can we understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. So how is it that the faithless and the demoniac cannot understand Krishna? If everyone is endowed with common sense and uh, good enough intelligence that one can be rational, one can be thoughtful, so on. The reason is because it is the nature of false ego. So basically, when false ego is given priority, it is the false ego which so it is basically the false ego which acts like a cloud eclipsing one's vision. So it's basically that when false ego is not there, the person is humble. Then one's intelligence, the energies of one's intelligence can actually be holistic and one can see from all various perspectives. And then that gives one a scope and scope uh, to realize and understand that everything is a connection to Krishna. Now, when one is allowing false ego to take the driving seat, the false ego constricts or becomes like a cloud in front of us or completely eclipsing us. False ego. So, because of that, the false ego decides what is the span of the field where the intelligence will roam around. That is the whole point. So the more is the false ego, the less is the span where the intelligence can actually move around. And therefore we see that materially speaking, many people are intelligent, still they are not able to understand Krishna. I mean intelligent in terms of IQ and marks and technical achievements. Why they are not able to understand? Because that intelligence is not given a proper field only. Work can understand holistically. The intelligence is given a skewed up field. That is the point. The intelligence is given a skewed up field. And because of that constricted skewed up field, the intelligence is not able to think anything beyond. So if the intelligence becomes holistic, then one can connect to Krishna. But the intelligence is very much obscure. Then how can one connect? So everybody has similar intelligence, similar power of thoughtfulness, rationality, and so on, common sense. Somebody gets convinced and somebody not because the owing to the magnitude of their false ego, they are actually uh, running around on different grounds. Lower the false ego, bigger the ground. So if you lower the false ego, person mode of goodness, his perspectives are very broad. Higher the false ego, lower the ground. Okay, smaller. That's a, that is why the constricting reins of the false ego have to be loosened. For a person to gain fit footing in Krishna consciousness. Because the output completely depends on the input. Just like in artificial intelligence, the deep learning, uh, you need a certain amount of data for it to be able to come to meaningful conclusion. Otherwise, it's as good as not, is as good as useless. Similarly, unless our perspectives are broad enough, we will never be able to have proper conclusions. Like Krishna's mercy, Arjuna is uplifted to that. So that is what we see subservience to the parampara does, it broadens our perspective. People foolishly think that when we commit ourselves to a parampara, we are constricting ourselves. No, we are actually not constricting ourselves. We are actually broadening our perspectives. So that's what the parampara does to us. Broadens our perspectives. And our perspectives are broad enough, we can see Krishna everywhere. The instructions of the spiritual master broadens the perspectives. That is the point. Yes. Yes, because we need help. Why Parikshit Maharaj searching for a guide? Because we need help at every stage of our devotional service. Even a pure devotee needs help by other devotees. Even a pure devotee needs help by other devotees. Yes. This person is required. A person guru is required. All the no, we need a person. Like yeah, no, and not only the guru, we need a lot of devotees around us to help us. So we need a lot of devotees to help us. So that is called as parampara. Parampara means that we are connecting to the family of Krishna through the very wonderful representatives of Krishna. And so, in fact, we connect to Diksha Guru through his disciples. Direct connection is not realized. Weak. Direct connection is very weak. We connect to the Diksha Guru also through the Diksha Guru disciples, through his God brothers. There is a whole network. And if one tries to so the the false ego eclipses oneself. When we think that I only need the Diksha Guru, nobody else I need in life, then one is eclipse, a false ego, me and mine false ego is going on. That's all the Guru Groupisms are example of me and my false ego. When we feel my Guru is only great, it is not my Guru, it is I am great. That is the whole. The Guru is being used as a pawn for trying to blow the trumpet of one's own false ego. Like so, so we need the parampara of the devotees to guide us, to connect to the parampara. Then only we can understand Krishna. Otherwise, we cannot. Even like to understand one's own Diksha Guru, one needs is to serve one Diksha Guru also one needs to serve his disciples. We will see about that. Yes. Otherwise, taking any field and doing like we might have been. Yes, because we have to serve the Diksha Guru's disciples, and through them only we can understand Diksha Guru, and we can please him through his disciples. Because it's just by hearing Guru's words, just by hearing, our own hearing is faulty. Our own hearing is faulty and flavored by our own ego, and so our own hearing is faulty. Our own understanding is faulty. But when there are so many devotees around us, all those faults get purified. And we are actually able to align with the Diksha Guru. Like, otherwise, if I say, well, I will hear my Guru's words and I can go back to God, it's impossible. Impossible. That one can sit in a building and hear one's own Guru's words and go back to God, it's impossible. Because we are not purified. We are sitting with all our impurities. So Guru's pure words go, get filtered through our impurity. Therefore, we catch messages selectively. When we read the Shastras also, we don't catch the full message. We catch what we want to catch. And that is why people are able to misquote Shastras heavily to justify any amount of sense gratification in the name of Krishna consciousness. So any amount of Krishna consciousness, sense gratification can be justified by Krishna conscious philosophy. That means what? We only catch what we want to catch. And that is why we need devotees. So we are humble to the entire Vaishnav Sangha. Then only we will be able to connect to the parampara, to our Diksha Guru, Prabhupada. Otherwise, it's not possible. Yeah, the connection to Diksha Guru and Prabhupada same. One who is connected to Prabhupada has to be connected to Diksha Guru. One who is connected to Diksha Guru has to be connected to Prabhupada. The same line. That is called as parampara. That is the point. Okay, so let's read further. Yes, question. Yes, Prabhupada is writing the system was lost. Yes. Arjuna was able to review how it is getting rejected. Now the Lord is revealing true knowledge, and by His blessings, Arjuna is able to understand exactly what the Lord is wanting to say. So then, through Arjuna's actions, and Arjuna is demonstrating that practically in day-to-day life. When Arjuna is fighting, when Arjuna is leading his life, he is following the principles of Krishna consciousness. By that, he becomes a teacher, a radiator of Krishna's instruction. And anyone who connects to Arjuna, connected to the Lord, Arjuna is also showing, the Lord is also revealing through Arjuna what is the spirit and attitude which is required to understand the message of Krishna. Everything is in front of us, but we will not be able to understand it unless we have the right attitude. That right attitude we are learning here from Bhagavad Gita. That Arjuna is ready to accept whatever Krishna is telling, even though his thought process was different. That is why the beginning chapters we see Arjuna's thought process. Even though his thought process is completely different, he is ready to reject. So, are we ready? That is the question. Arjuna was, so he is able to understand. If we are not, we won't be able to understand. That's the point. That's why Prabhupada is saying the attitude. We have to understand Bhagavad Gita. We need the attitude like Arjuna. In that way, the Arjuna is so Arjuna Krishna is rejuvenated. Yes. That is the point. Because of Arjuna, Maharaj has been left and all this suffering of Krishna. Yeah, so we understand. Yes, the Sampradaya is got rejuvenated uh, through many devotees. It is not just to Arjuna. Through Uddhavji also Lord Krishna is revealing the right message. Lord Krishna gave right message to Maitreya Muni also. So therefore Maitreya Muni is able to tell Vidurji about Krishna consciousness. So the Lord always rejuvenates the process through the genuine and sincere deeds. And in this way, uh, the constant rejuvenation is happening. So because there are sincere, now we may say, oh, the so we may say also ISKCON also we see so many devotees they are falling apart or they are falling down or they are deviating. Then where is the parampara now? No, at every given point of time, there is this constant flow which is happening through a disciple who is not dedicated, who has got lost into the pool of false ego. Through such a person, the parampara is getting lost. But then through a sincere disciple, the parampara is getting rejuvenated. It's a constant phenomenon. It's an all-time phenomenon. And therefore, Prabhupada said, even if there is one sincere devotee on the planet, we can take inspiration from that devotee and practice Krishna consciousness. What is the difficulty? So don't get disturbed. Somebody leaves. Feel extremely rejuvenated if somebody stays. And there are many people staying. That is the point. Okay, so let us start. Yes. Yes. It is on screen share. Screen share. We are reading the verse. If my laptop internet is not coming, so on the mobile the verse. Can you please just elaborate on that how we can do like we can be our own policy and be able to be selective, rating selective here. No, all the time it is like that. Therefore, we have to be with devotees. By being with them, by seeing their example, by receiving correction from them, we will be able to align properly. Otherwise, that's why we have to give a lot of weightage to what the devotees around us are saying, to what our seniors, our equal devotees are saying. Because one who is healthy in Krishna consciousness can conduct the grace of the parampara. At the time when he or she is healthy. That's the point. So therefore, somebody being unhealthy simply means that that person is not a carrier of the grace of the parampara presently. Again, if one becomes healthy, again one can become the carrier of the parampara. So as long as somebody is healthy, good standing, they are somebody is healthy, they are actually conducting the carrier, they are carrier of the parampara. So there is no problem in connecting through them or to the parampara through them. You're actually connecting to parampara always through them. That's the point. Okay, this is 10:15. Swayam evatmanatman vedha tvam purushottama bhutabhavana bhutesha deva deva jagatpate. Indeed, you alone know yourself by your own internal potential. O Supreme Person, origin of all, Lord of all beings, God of gods, Lord of the universe. The Supreme Lord Krishna can be known by persons who are in a relationship with Him through the discharge of devotional service, like Arjuna and his followers. Persons of demoniac and atheistic mentality cannot know Krishna. Mental speculation leads one away from the Supreme Lord. A mental speculation that leads one away from the Supreme Lord is a serious sin. And one who does not know Krishna should not try to comment on Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is a statement of Krishna, and since it is the science of Krishna, it should be understood from Krishna as Arjuna understood. It should not be received from atheistic persons. Because the Bhagavatam 1 to 11, it is said, Vadanti tat visvam yat jnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmi bhagavan iti shabdati. The supreme truth is realized in three aspects: as the impersonal Brahman, as a localized Paramatma, and at last as the supreme personality of God. So, at the last stage of understanding the absolute truth, one comes to the supreme personality of God. A common man or a liberated man who has realized the impersonal Brahman, a localized Paramatma, may not understand God's personality. Such men, therefore, may endeavor to understand the Supreme Person from the verses of Bhagavad Gita, which are being spoken by person Krishna. Sometimes the impersonalists accept Krishna as Bhagavan. Or they accept his authority. Yet many liberated persons cannot understand Krishna as Purushottama, the Supreme Person. Therefore, Arjuna addresses him as Purushottama. Yet one still may not understand that Krishna is the father of all the living entities. Therefore, Arjuna addresses him as Bhuta Bhavana. And if one comes to know him as the father of all living entities, still one may not know him as a supreme controller. Therefore, his address is Bhutesh. And even if one knows Krishna as the supreme controller of all the living entities, one still may not know that he is the origin of all the demigods. Therefore, his address is Devadev, the worshipful god of all the demigods. And even if one knows him as a worshipful god of all the demigods, one may not know that he is the supreme proprietor of everything. Therefore, his address is Jagatpati. Thus, the truth about Krishna is established in this verse by the realization of Arjuna And we should follow in the footsteps of Arjuna to understand Krishna as he is. Indeed, you alone know yourself by your internal potency. O Supreme Person, origin of all, Lord of all beings, God of gods, Lord of the universe. Yes, 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 yes. Hmm? Yes, one has to, yes, we understand Krishna through the devotees. So Arjuna's realization is very, very pertinent for us. Arjuna is saying Krishna is all perfect. None of us are all perfect. Krishna is all perfect. So if Krishna wants, he can reveal himself. That is why a devotee understanding that it is only Krishna who is all perfect. So such a devotee always remains humble and dependent on the Supreme Lord, prayerful. Such a devotee will never leave the thread on the track of prayerful disposition. Because the devotee will understand that if Krishna does not reveal, I just cannot understand. So such a devotee will always be subservient to the Supreme. And the same spirit, the devotee always gives more value and weightage to the assembly of the Vaishnavas. Who is a humble devotee? A humble devotee is one who knows and who is aware that, okay, the assembly of the Vaishnavas here uh, can reveal Krishna much more to me than my own thoughts and my own realizations talk can do. That's humility. So a pure devotee will always be rightly situated. That means we will see even pure devotees also consulting other Vaishnavas and giving weightage to their word. Like Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, so much separation from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He wanted to commit suicide. But before he did that, he went to consult with Sanatana Goswami Rupa Goswami. So giving weightage to Parampara. Here, Srila Prabhupada is so beautifully explaining that because Arjuna is nicely connected to Krishna, Arjuna is able to understand Krishna's real disposition. And Arjuna is revealing it to us. How Krishna is the origin of. One may understand that. But one will still not understand Krishna's Supreme Person. Now one may understand that, but still one may not understand how Krishna is Supreme Controller, how Krishna is Supreme Proprietor, how he is the father of all the demigods also, and how he has created the entire universe. So Arjuna is revealing all these basics to us. That means that revelations in Krishna consciousness can come through the Lord. Therefore, it should give much more the weightage to the revelations coming from the devotee than revelations which are coming in our own heart. In our own heart also, okay, fine, every sincere man may get realizations. But the, the, real, the realization which is coming through the devotees is so. Yes, question. Hmm? How Arjuna is reduced. That Krishna is the lord of all the demigods. Yeah, because Arjuna himself had defeated so many demigods. He was so powerful. He defeated Indra. Uh, he had even given a tight fight to Lord Shiva. Arjuna himself had defeated so many demigods. So definitely it was very natural. Arjuna was very powerful. He had uh, so very powerful warrior. So for him to understand Krishna's coming, the demigods were similar level to him, not much. In power, in skills, Arjuna was equal footing. They went to heavenly planets easily. So he was powerful. So definitely he was understanding that Krishna is 100% more powerful. Because he himself was powerful than so many demigods. What to say of Krishna? Yeah, that's the point. So that's how. It was not a difficult conclusion for Arjuna to understand. Somebody is so mighty that even demigods cannot stand in front of him. That person is understanding that, no, is realizing that I am not able to handle things, and Krishna is able to handle it. That means Krishna is above. So that's Arjuna's realization. He has seen, he had been to the heavenly planets. Hmm. So Arjuna has experienced it and heard it, accepted all three of them, and therefore he is a competent authority. Arjuna is showing that it's not on individual opinion. He is also relying on the Sankhya Guru that is following all the command. Yeah, this goes to show that all our non-sentiment that yes, so that is why all our independent individual conclusions have to be validated by the assembly. If it is Krishna conscious, everybody will jump up and down and dance. And if it is deviation, everybody will correct. So our individual conceptions cannot be given so much weightage. We have to give. We have to get it validated. Arjuna has got it validated. So anyway, you say, okay, it was my understanding and it got validated by Vaishnavas, or it was Vaishnavas' words and I have seen it in experience. It's one and the same thing. Okay, so let's read forward. वक्तुमर्हसि अशेषेण दिव्य हि आत्मा विभूतया याभिर्विभूतिभिर्लोका इमां स्वां व्याप्स्य तिष्ठति. Please tell me in detail about your divine opulences by which you pervade all these worlds. In this verse, it appears that Arjuna is already satisfied with his understanding by the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. By Krishna's grace, Arjuna has personal experience, intelligence, and knowledge, and whatever else a person may have. And therefore, through all these agencies, he has understood Krishna to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For him, there is no doubt. Yet he is asking Krishna to explain his all-pervading nature. Because people in general and the Mayavadis in particular concern themselves mainly with the all-pervading nature of the Supreme. So Arjuna is asking Krishna how he exists in his all-pervading aspect through his different energies. One should know that this is being asked by Arjuna on behalf of the common good. So Arjuna understood, but we will not understand. Therefore, Krishna, Arjuna is asking not Krishna, could you please reveal your love? Yeah, on our behalf. Arjuna is asking our behalf. It's for our sake. With the same way, 7.5 has not heard anything until struggle. Like was whatever other what it does. Nothing. Yes, so yes, Ishwara Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not reveal his bhakti unless he received the blessings and instructions from Srila Ishwara Puri. Yes, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu considered his devotee. To show us an example. Katham vidyamaham yogim Tvam sada parichintayan keshu keshu cha bhaveshu chintayosi bhagavan maya. O Krishna, supreme mistake, how shall I constantly think of you? And how shall I know you? In what various forms are you to be remembered, O Supreme Personality of God? As it is stated in the previous chapter, the Supreme Personality of God is covered by the Yoga Maya. Only the surrendered souls and devotees can see. Now Arjuna is convinced that his friend Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he wants to know the general process by which the all-pervading Lord can be understood by the common man. Common man, including the demons and the atheists, cannot know Krishna because he is guarded by his Yoga Maya energy. Again, these questions are asked by Arjuna for their benefit. The superior devotee is concerned not only for his own understanding, but for the understanding of all man. So So Arjuna, out of his mercy, because he is Vaishnava, he is a devotee, he is opening for the common man the understanding of the all pervasiveness of the Supreme. He addresses Krishna specifically as Yogi because Sri Krishna, the master of Yogamaya energy, by which he is covered and uncovered to the common man. A common man with no love for Krishna cannot always think of Krishna. Therefore, he has to think materially. Arjuna is considering the mode of thinking of the materialistic people of this world. The verse Kechu Kechu cha bhavechu refer to the material nature. Bhava means physical thing. Because materialists cannot understand Krishna spiritually, they are advised to concentrate the mind on physical things and try to see how Krishna is manifested by physical representatives. जय श्री जय जय गोवर्धन भगवान की जय श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा सुदर्शन ग्रहण की जय. So we are not that advanced that we can see Krishna anywhere and everywhere, and therefore we need to see Krishna in a physical manifestation. Uh, and that is why the Lord is going to explain His opulence in physical manifestation, so that we can actually relate to the. So that we can actually relate to the. That is the point. Yes, we should. Vistarenatmano yogam vibhutim cha janardana bhuya kataya triptirhi Bhato nasti me amrita. O Janardhan, again please describe in detail the mystic power of your opulences. I am never satisfied in hearing about, for the more I hear, the more I want to taste the nectar of your word. A similar statement was made by Sutta Goswami. A similar statement was made to Sutta Goswami with the rituals of Naimisharani, headed by Shonaka. Vayam tu na prithyam uttama shloka vikram yakshrinvatam rasagyan swadu swadu pade pade. One can never be satiated even though one continuously hears the transcendental pastimes of Krishna. One can never be satiated even though one continuously hears the transcendental pastimes of Krishna, who is glorified by excellent prayer. Those who have entered into a transcendental relationship with Krishna relish at every step the descriptions of the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. Thus, Arjuna is interested in hearing about Krishna and specifically how he remains the all-pervading Supreme Lord. Now, as far as Amritam nectar is concerned, any narration or statement concerning Krishna is just like nectar. And this nectar can be perceived by practical experience. Modern stories, fiction, and histories are different from the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, in that one will tire of hearing mundane stories. But one never tires of hearing about Krishna. It is for this reason only that the history of the whole universe is replete with references to the pastimes of the incarnations of God. The Puranas are histories of bygone ages that relate the pastimes of the various incarnations of the Lord. In this way, the reading matter remains forever fresh despite repeated reading. Yes. So the narration of Krishna is tantamount to being with. And therefore, for a sincere soul, such opportunity is very nourishing. It is like that one can, say, one is in a foreign country, one can connect back to one's family and home if there is a very good Wi-Fi connection. So the narration of Krishna is provide access to Krishna through the Wi-Fi of the sincerity of the devotee narrator. That is the point. The Vaishnavas provide the Wi-Fi access to Krishna, and the Vaishnavas, so basically the Vaishnavas are not just speaking Krishna's glory, they are giving us access to experience the presence of Krishna. That is the point.
Like a job in business past tense, people were asked to buy things, but like even thinking that they have entered the Leela, they are older than the person who has attained famous cannot come to the Monday level. So it's not that one can feel what he has sensitive also. And then that go back and they go after I think
No, that Sanidhita with Krishna manifests in form of reciprocation with Krishna. If Krishna is present in front of us, will we keep sleeping and doing some nonsense what we are doing? We will want to serve him. So one who is realizing Krishna's presence will always be engaged in service. Yes. 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 Let's read further. Shri Bhagavan Vach
Shri Bhagavan
Antate Katayasyami Yevyehi Atma Vibhutaya Pradhanayata Kuru Shrestha Nasti Anto Vistarasya Me. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, yes, I will tell you of my splendorous manifestations, but only of those which are prominent over Arjuna, for my opulence is limitless. It is not possible to comprehend the greatness of Krishna and his opulence. The senses of the individual soul are limited and do not permit him to understand the totality of Krishna's affairs. Still, the devotees try to understand Krishna, but not on the principle that they will be able to understand Krishna fully at any specific time or any specific state of life. Rather, the very topics of Krishna are so relishable that they appear to the devotees as nectar. Thus, the devotees enjoy them. In discussing Krishna's opulence and his diverse energies, the pure devotees take transcendental pleasure. Therefore, they want to hear and discuss them. Krishna knows that the living entities do not understand the extent of his opulences. He therefore agrees to state only the principal manifestations of his different energies. The word pradhana yataha, principle, is very important because we can understand only a few of the principal details of the Supreme Lord. For his features are unlimited. Pradhanataya, principle, very important. It is not possible to understand them all. And Vibhuti, as used in this verse, refers to the opulences by which he controls the whole manifestation. The Amara dictionary has stated that Vibhuti indicates an exceptional opulence. Thus, the impersonalists of the pantheists cannot understand the exceptional opulences of the Supreme Lord, nor the manifestations of his divine energy. Both in the material world and in the spiritual world, his energies are distributed in every variety of manifestation. Now, Krishna is describing what can be directly perceived by the common man. Thus, part of his variegated energy is described in this way. So, very beautiful explanation here, because we see that a devotee is continuously ecstatic in Krishna consciousness. Why? Because the devotee knows that whenever I am enthusiastic in my spiritual practices, immediately there will be Krishna's revelation. How much revelation? Absolute revelation never possible. It will be some part of the revelation, but every time there will be a different feature which will become visible. A different feature and opulence of the Lord. Therefore, every time for a devotee is a thrill. Because every time the devotee connects to Krishna for eternity, every time Krishna reveals different aspects. And therefore, a devotee is ecstatic for eternity. And therefore, a devotee is eager for Krishna Katha, that yes, I will get a new flavor of revelation. And by Krishna, and I will get to connect to Krishna. So I'll get to connect to Krishna. So when we see that the Krishna Katha is my connection to Krishna, then we can be ecstatic hearing the same philosophy, the same pastime for eternity. Because it's not just theory and word, it is our connection to Krishna. Yes. Yes. Let's read further. अहमात्मा गुडाकेश सर्वभूताशय स्थित अहमादिस्य मध्यम च भूतानां अंत एव च. I am the super soul of Arjuna, situated in the hearts of all the living entities. I am the beginning, I am the middle, and the end of all the beings. In this verse, Arjuna is addressed as Budakesha, which means one who has conquered the darkness of sleep. So, for those who are sleeping in the darkness of ignorance, it is not possible to understand the Supreme Personality, how the Supreme Personality of Godhead manifests himself in various ways in the material and spiritual. Thus, this address to Krishna by Krishna to Arjuna is significant because Arjuna is above some darkness. Such darkness, the personality of Godhead agrees to describe his various appearances. Yes. Krishna first informs Arjuna that he is the soul of the entire cosmic manifestation by dint of his primary expansion. Before the material creation, the Supreme Lord, by his plenary expansion, accepts the Purusha incarnation, and from him everything began. Therefore, he is the Atma, soul of the Mahat Tattva. Yeah. The total mental energy is not the cause of the creation. Actually, the Mahat Tattva, so actually the Mahavishnu enters into the Mahat Tattva, the total mental energy. He is the soul. When Mahavishnu enters into the manifested universe, he again manifests himself as a super soul in each and every entity. We have experienced that the personal body of the living entity exists due to the presence of the spiritual spark. Without the existence of spiritual spark, body cannot develop. Similarly, the mental manifestation cannot develop unless the supreme soul enters. As stated in the Subal Upanishad, Prakriti Adi Sarva Bhutan Yami Sarva Shichanarayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is existing as a super soul in all the manifested universe. The three Purusha avatars described in Bhagavatam, they are also described in uh, Narada Pancharatra, one of the Satvata Tantras. Vishnu Sutrini Rupani Purushakyani Ato. The Supreme Personality of Godhead manifests three features as Aranodakshai Vishnu, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, Shirudakshai Vishnu. In this particular manifestation, the Mahavishnu or the Karanodakshai Vishnu described in Brahma Samhita 547. The Supreme Lord Krishna, the cause of all causes, lies down in the cosmic ocean as the Mahavishnu. Therefore, the Supreme Personality is Godhead at the beginning of this universe, the maintainer of the universal manifestations and the end of all energy. So the Lord is saying, I am the beginning, the maintainer, and the end, the beginning, middle, and end of all the beings. Yes. It is the Supreme Lord who has entered this universe. Therefore, the universe is dynamic. This universe therefore has a meaning because the Supreme Lord is there. Just like a house is meaning when people are staying in it. When it is not, nobody dares to go there because it appears to be haunted. Nobody is staying in the house for long. Nobody will dare to go there. It will be like a haunted or abandoned house. Similarly, the universe has meaning because Krishna is present. The universe is dynamic because Krishna is present. And therefore, the universe is moving, Krishna is moving, actually. Therefore, a devotee is not disturbed by the motion of the situations and the things. Rather, a devotee understands through this motion, Krishna is actually moving his hand. And through that, he's I'm being center of Krishna. Krishna will bring me to him through this motion of the world. Through this motion and change of the situations, the surroundings we get. Through this change of the body which is happening imperceptibly. So it's Krishna who is speaking through this experience. It is not false, but temporary. The street for yes, yes. आदित्यानामहं विष्णु ज्योतिषं रविर अंशुमन् मरीचिर्मरुतमस्मि नक्षत्राणामहं शशि of the Adityas I am Vishnu of the lights I am the radiant sun of the Maruts I am Marichi and among the stars I am the moon. There are 12 Adityas of which Krishna is the principal. Among the luminaries shining in the sky, the sun is the chief. In Brahma Samhita, the sun is accepted as the glowing eye of the Supreme Lord. There are 50 varieties of wind blowing in space, and of these winds, the controlling deity Marichi represents. Among the stars, the moon is the most prominent at night, and thus the moon represents. It appears from this world, the moon is one of the stars, therefore the stars twinkle in the sky and also reflect the light of the sun. The theory that there are many suns in the universe is not accepted by Vedic literature. The sun is one. And as by the reflection of the sun, the moon illuminates also, so also do the stars. Since Bhagavad Gita herein indicates that the moon is one of the stars, the twinkling stars are not suns, but are similar to the moon. Vedanam Sama Vedosmi Devanam Asmi Vasavaha Indriyanam Manasyasmi Bhutanam Asmi Chetana. Of the Vedas, I am the Sama Veda. The demigods, I am Indra, the king of heaven. Of the senses, I am the mind. And in the living beings, I am the eternal force, consciousness. The difference between matter and spirit is that matter has no consciousness like the living entity, whereas this consciousness is supreme and eternal. Consciousness cannot be produced by a combination of matter. Rudranam Shankarasya Vitteshu Yaksha Rakshasam Vasunam Pavakasyasmi Meru Chikaranam. Of the Rudras, I am Lord Shiva. Of the Yakshas and Rakshasas, I am the Lord of the wealth Kubera. Of the Vasus, I am Agni. And of the mountains, I am Meru. So there are 11 Rudras, of whom Shankara, Lord Shiva, is prominent. He is the incarnation of the Supreme Lord, in charge of the mode of ignorance in this universe. The leader of the Yakshas and Rakshasas is Kubera, the master treasurer of the demigods, and he is a representation of the Supreme Lord. Meru is a mountain framed for its natural resources. Purushodasham cha mukhyamma Viddipatha Brihaspatim Sena Ninamaham Shanka Sarasam Asmi Sagaraha. O priest, O Arjuna, know me to be the chief Brahaspati. Of the generals, I am Kartikeya. Of the bodies of water, I am the oceans. Indra is the chief demigod of the heavenly planets and is known as the king of heaven. The planet on which he reigns is Indraloka. Brahaspati is Indra's priest. And since Indra is the chief of kings, Brahaspati is the chief of all priests. As Indra is the chief of all kings, similarly, Skanda or Kartikeya, the son of Parvati, and Shiva is the chief of all military commanders. And of all the bodies, the water, the ocean is the greatest. The mind is most powerful of the senses, of all the senses. Because the mind controls all the senses. Therefore, Krishna is saying, of the senses, I am the mind. So these representations of Krishna only give hints of his greatness. By wrong choices, we get false ego. Yeah, the mind sustains and feeds the soul. Yes. 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 Okay, so let's stop here for today.
So there's a
Further
question.
options of the Supreme Absolute Truth we will discuss in the next class.
Oh, there's a question by Harshit Varghese. So, okay.
Yes. Yes, question. Yes, question. Okay, there is one question in the chat. We have heard that we have to give weightage to society of Vaishnavas. That may lead to confusion because all devotees see from different perspectives and they all may correct. How do we decide what course of action to take? In the initial stages of practice of Krishna consciousness, various devotees may be speaking various things. But as devotees become more and more advanced, we see the more advanced the devotees, they are all speaking the same. They are not speaking different. And therefore, one can receive the depths of uh, one can receive the fine tuning of oneself from the devotee. This becomes specially starts becoming true when the devotees are more and more advanced. Therefore, we have to look to advanced devotees. We have to look to advanced devotees. And if we have passed 10 years in Krishna consciousness, then equals also become this thing uh, the the equals also become this thing. So they are not going to speak different things. It's not that they are going to give different services or they are going to speak different. Somebody will say Krishna is God or somebody will say Krishna is not God. No, it's basically when we see them, when we act through them, we will be able to get fine tuning of our consciousness. That is why Prabhupada established now committees to there is this board which takes care of youth preaching. There's the board which takes care of the temple. So when we are there in assembly of all those devotees, our understanding gets refined. So that is the point. That when everybody is sincerely trying to come together for a cause, okay, let's run the temple. Then by hearing from the other Vaishnavas how they see things, how what they give weightage to, we get refined. That is not that our seva will change, but the point is we get refined by hearing. That's therefore the Sangha, therefore Prabhupada established this committee. So individually, if we do something, we'll be lost into our own world. That is one point. So that's why one should invite Vaishnavas. Uh, Even in one's temple, one should invite a lot of senior Vaishnavas. When they come, they see, being with them, one can understand more. They'll be able to see many things which one may not understand. By their suggestion, correction, anything will improve. It's one and the same thing, service to Krishna. It's the project of, which is an offering to Krishna. And various Vaishnavas can help us actually making it a better option. So that principle has to be given weightage. That principle. So various groups of Sangha, the group of youth preaching, the group of pujaris. So one pujari may not understand. The Sangha is will refine one's understanding. That's the, okay, let's stop here.